This time we'll call the May 11th, 2021 meeting of the Jackson County Board of Supervisors to order. Supervisors Larry McDevitt, Mike Steinis, and myself, Jack Willie. Lisa Smith, our county auditor, and Luann Gogi, our administrative assistant. And our first appointment, as usual, is David Dreyer, our Jackson County engineer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So on the agenda for engineering is the award the calcium chloride quote for winter 2022. Went out for proposals from 4 companies: Ocean, Knight Chemicals, Bins and Stevens, and Jericho Services. The low bidder was Ocean from Davenport, Iowa, at $11.07 a bag, as opposed to the next lowest bid is $11.20 a bag. I understand we've used Ocean before. It's a 3.2% increase from last year, and actually a 1 cent cheaper than it was in 2019. $11.07 a bag. So we recommend awarding it to Ocean. And if you're interested, the calcium chloride is mixed with sand and salt, and that lowers the operating temperature of the anti-icing mix so that it can work at colder temperatures as opposed to just plain.
Well, as cold as we got this year, we need that.
We talked about this before, but like bulk does not work in any. I know we talked
I
about.
think they want to keep it bagged because it'll absorb water and just come.
How did we do with our supply from last year? Do you know?
I don't think there was a problem. I know that they always enjoy mixing it together when they need to do that because it's not easy work, but I haven't heard any complaints.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I go by a couple of the sheds and it seemed like they got a fair amount of supply, but I don't know what's down here. They got supply at the yard too, yet, I suppose. Huh?
I'm not sure.
I guess I would make a motion to award the calcium chloride quote to Ocean as presented.
Second. A motion and a second to award the contract to Ocean Incorporated out of Davenport for $29,756.16. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, item number 2, bridge recommendations. Yeah, as you know, we are in the annual process of inspecting our bridges. We secured the services of IIW to review the river bridges, the fracture critical bridges, the ones that are larger and need more equipment and gear to get up to inspect. And they made their recommendations for that. And the first recommendation is for the Caven Bridge, town of Brandon, number 1017. And they recommend closure of that bridge. It's one lane bridge. I don't know, did you get a copy?
Yes, I got one on my email.
That together so I can know what I was talking about. It's
What's the traffic count on that
it's
road?
about 15 vehicles a day.
15 a day?
That's multiple trips, so.
Is that, it's like when you test from one side or the other side, you test right at it, I suppose. So, yeah.
It's not on the bridge per se, but it's
Yeah.
within that, on that link.
Well, I looked, at the, where your route would be, the north and south of it. I actually went across that bridge a couple of years ago on my side by side. I was kind of scared.
Yeah,
Where is
it
that?
moves.
It's a crazy looking thing. I tell you what, it's amazing.
It's an old arch bridge. Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's down north of,
It's a
Mont-
through truss,
yeah.
and it's the stringers are supported by almost like tie rods that are suspended from the structure. It's 122 years old, so I think it's performed its duty.
It's lived its life.
Yes, it has.
How long a bridge is it?
It's long.
You come down around that
One
corner.
question I don't have off the top of my head. It's about 109 feet.
Oh, really? Wow.
And that don't account, that wouldn't account for the approaches either, I don't imagine. Just like that one that got hit, it's about that
Yeah,
long with the
yeah.
abutments coming up to it. You come down around that corner from the north, I tell you what, it's
I mean, it's a pretty sight. It
Spooky.
certainly is attractive, but it's not a
It's,
historic bridge.
it looks historic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
it's fracture critical, so there's no redundancy within that system. It's got pretty advanced deterioration. The bridge deck needs to be replaced. The stringers are torqued out of plane. We got some cracks in it. The expansion rocker.
So
arm is
what would
fully
we-
extended?
When you say fracture critical, can you explain that to me? What's that?
Fracture critical means that if a member fails, there's a good chance the entire bridge will collapse.
I see.
There's no redundancy within the structure like you would see today, where if a beam failed, the next beam would be able to carry
Sure.
the load and you'd be able to repair it. But the bridge wouldn't come down. The bridge would come down.
I would bet it would. So how would you do that as far as closure? Would you just close it at the structure and put signs up at the next intersection?
We would put advanced signs up
Not
that
a through,
road closed or no outlet dead end, depending on the street layout. Then at the bridge proper, you have GM barriers, the concrete barriers, most likely, because people tend to move typical.
Yeah, they sure do.
Type 3 barricades, but it would fully signing package and the like,
and what's the weight limit on that bridge now?
6 tons.
6 tons. So that was my thought. You can't go across it with much more than a pickup
That is
right
correct.
now.
Yes.
Mhm.
And my guess is the traffic that's going from one side to the other is really taking a shortcut or.
Well, I had heard from some of the folks who know people who live out there that it's the route people use in the winter because the road to the north is less likely to have been drifted shut. So it's,
Have we talked to
Useful,
the
yeah.
neighborhood? Is that?
Does any property owner own property on both sides of the river?
I'm not sure.
So
I don't know
is-
that we have a lot of choice.
Oh, we
because,
don't.
you know, We can't spend $3 million on a bridge with 15 cars and.
Yeah,
So it's critical enough where you couldn't even allow pedestrian traffic. is it?
I would prefer not to.
You need to go look at it, Larry.
Okay.
Yeah, you could try.
It's
jump-
interesting.
It's,
jump up
It's
and
north
down
of
on it and get it kind of-
Canton.
No, it's not that far
No,
over there, is
no.
it? How north of, I would say, well, what street is it?
It's about 1.5
Could you
miles.
place that on the map there? What's the number of the bridge? 1017.
I see it up to 6 tons left. TC 15.
It's North Fork. Yeah.
Right there.
it is in a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy coming down around that corner.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those simply beautiful Jackson County sites, except for the bridge.
Except for
You know, that's one of
us
the
sitting
things,
here looking at it like, oh my God, that thing costs a lot of money.
yeah, you just, that's one of the things you don't like to do, but I don't know if you have any choice.
And that's over the Macocata, right?
North Fork, yes.
Mhm. Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I would,
I'd make a motion to close it as recommended by the inspection team.
second,
It's been moved and seconded to close the Cabin Bridge on 60th Avenue and put the appropriate signage and block it.
You're gonna take action next week.
Oh,
So the
resolution will be
persons,
18th.
If they want to do it, I don't know if they can make a resolution today or not. They have to
Well,
wait a week.
It says that it's on the me. I didn't.
So today is just a recommendation and tomorrow or next Tuesday. is
Okay,
the
will it take
resolution.
action on both of these bridges next week then?
Okay. And we still have to discuss about.
Yep. And the 74th Street Bridge?
And we have the wrong bridge number on that. It's Monmouth 1331. And there's also a bridge over South Fork of the Macocata. It is a bridge that was relocated there off of an old DOT route. And it was cited there. It's got posted today for height restrictions with no weight restrictions. It's got some cracking welds. Traffic volume on it is 90 to 100 vehicles per day. It's sustained damage during past flooding events. It's got some weld cracks in the structural members, and the structural engineer's recommendation is to lower it to a 15-ton restriction.
And there's no weight limit on it now.
The weight limit on it now.
How large of a bridge, or is this not on our 5-year or not in the
It's
site?
not on the 5-year plan. It is 130 feet of this maximum span and 171 feet total.
Larry, if you don't know where this is at, remember when you were gonna go out and look at the 82nd bridge that was damaged? And you looked at that other bridge?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I did
That's
too.
it.
That's it, okay.
Yeah, it
And there's a
was told
canoe
that you're-
access on the other side.
there's canoe accesses on both these bridges.
Yeah.
That we're discussing today.
We've discussed it before. We're fortunate to have Book of the River for activities and such, but it comes at a price.
Yes, it does. It's quite a beautiful. I can't wait to go canoeing. It's warm enough.
Okay,
I
so
would make a motion that we reduce the weight while we're
Prepare the
doing
resolution.
A resolution to reduce the weight limit on that bridge as
for
presented.
action next week,
Yes.
I would second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So do we need to put some signage on that 60th Avenue one before we close it? I mean, just to, as a warning.
I mean,
It's been that way for years.
yeah, I wouldn't.
How do you know when?
I think
you
we
know?
would.
Yeah.
They didn't say it needed immediate closure, but within 6 months, but we certainly would like to do it.
I mean, we had one that wasn't posted and then it was laying in the bottom. So,
Timing was
I mean,
good.
this one is visibly old.
I mean, the fact that radio hadn't even been invented when this bridge was.
Yeah.
set.
That's an
So
interesting thought,
experimenting with it before they
Yeah.
found the right combination.
Hmm.
Okay. Anything else, David?
See, you guys are doing some shoulder work. and gravel back
Yeah,
up.
getting the mowers out and things, it's still laying gravel. The insurance company has Sarah. They sent an email last week offering to pay the claims to date and then release them from all liability and future claims. They didn't include painting. So
They did or
they
didn't?
did not include the painting of the raw steel, so we countered with the 12,000 additional for painting and sent it to them, and they were going to review with their client to see if that was acceptable to them or not. But the good news is that we're close to
Making
a
progress.
resolution on that.
Yeah, amen.
So I think that was all we had on that. It's on that collapsed culvert. Can't keep the street names straight in my head.
475th, I think it was.
Are due Friday, so that'll be good too.
Discuss next week.
Yeah, and then Y61.
It was 475th for the culvert. It's washed out.
And the crack ceiling, they're hoping to begin that next week.
And are we updated on our patching? Are they coming anytime soon or?
I'd have to check with Mike on the patch, and I know that the concrete repairs are hopefully supposed to be here next week.
Okay, yeah, weather's gonna get a little warmer, so we hope.
I hope so. All right, thank you.
Thanks, David.
Okay, are there any citizens or guests that would like to address the board at this time? Seeing or hearing no one, we'll move to our next item is Becky Chapin, Human Resource Administrative General Relief Director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I am here this morning, as I let you know, the previous board meeting, the Iowa State Association of Counties recognized the years of service for department heads and elected officials in March of each year. They recognize the individuals that have served county government for 15 years as of that March and each 5-year increment thereafter. We do have some department head and elected officials, as well as some non-department head and non-elected officials that will be recognized today. All of them were asked to attend the meeting today. So since we're just a couple minutes ahead, maybe we'll just wait a couple minutes and see. We have a few other employees.
Do you want to
that
have
we
Luann
anticipate will be
call the two that aren't
talking
here? Oh, there's Lynn isn't here.
Lynn,
Arlene,
folks, Arlene and
Jennifer.
Jennifer. They had somebody there from counter, so they may be. And Shelley. I can go drag her across the hall.
huh?
Shelley, I said, but we can go drag her across if we need to.
Hey Lynn, how are you? I'm good. Becky says you can come over anytime.
Speaking of the devil. Shelley.
She doesn't know why.
Just tell her to come.
Yeah. Jack says just come over anyway. You can. Yeah,
She thinks she's in trouble.
okay.
Let her,
When I
let her
pushed
think
a
we're
little
gonna
bit,
can her or something.
Kind of feel like,
And
oh,
she hasn't checked her license too there.
Thank you. Just run our way by. Who else did you need?
That should be it.
We're good. Okay. All right.
They know why you're wrong.
How are you guys today?
Good.
We just got the great news on our 2 bridges. Oh. It's always something, isn't there?
Yeah.
County roads look good. I see you guys got a few compliments on your road work this winter.
Yep, yep. That's good.
A lot of snow, no ice, very little other. than-
Start with Shelley.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
just
the-
asking David how we come out with our supply of salt, sand this year.
But yeah. That's quite a bit left,
You don't have to. Whatever you want.
but you never know what the next year.
Right.
Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Oh, we can go ahead. Go ahead and start with Shelley. Lynn Bolts is on her way over. We're gonna start with her, but we'll start with Shelley.
Yep.
So Shelley Hoy is an employee of the auditor's office. She's been with Jackson County for 35 years. So we would like to take the time to present her with a years of service certificate and have her boss, Lisa Smith, County Auditor, present that to her.
You know, we have been working together for 35 years. It's not just Shelley's work here. We've worked together
Yes.
for 35 years.
And I will tell you, the county is blessed to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very
And for
fortunate.
that, Team Jackson County is very thankful.
Yes.
Well, it's been interesting working here.
Prior to me becoming auditor.
It's been even more interesting.
Well, you know, the legislators does lots of stuff to us,
Yes, they do. Not,
whether we like it or not, they do it.
not good things.
We sure appreciate your service.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been fun.
It's great to have somebody that knows everything about
Every
everything.
day.
Yeah.
Every day's a treat.
Yes.
But we sure appreciate your service.
Something new.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley.
I think we'll go ahead and go to Arlene and Jennifer because that looks like we've wiped out their whole entire office. So
Okay.
we'll start with Arlene Shaw, who's our county reporter and has been with Jackson County for 25 years.
I'll come up there, it's fine.
Thanks for all your efforts and your work. The certificate of 25 years service to Jackson County.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And so congratulations to you, Arlene. And thank you from Team Jackson County.
Thank you. How is this even possible? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
How many years?
I'm
25.
still like 40.
Well, that's what I thought you were. Is it legal to start when you're 15 or what?
I did, yeah, thank you. No, it's, it's great when you can wake up in the morning and enjoy. That's wonderful, which you do, so.
So next we'll go with Jennifer Jones, who is the deputy recorder to County Recorder Arlene Shaw. She as well has been with Jackson County for 20 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your efforts, Jennifer.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I love meeting you in the hall when I used to see you smile. Now I see the black mask and it's understandable, but thanks for all your efforts and all your service to Jackson County.
Thank you. She does deserve a lot of praise because if I'm gone, I know it's in good hands. She knows probably as I get older and she gets younger, she probably remembers more than I do. So
We can all relate to that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you on behalf of Jackson County.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service.
Hey, Mike.
Arlene.
No, you.
So we'll go ahead and go with secondary roads since they're here, and we'll get them back out in the field area. We have Roger Mueller. He is our secondary roads superintendent, and he has been with Jackson County for 25 years.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you putting in the hours and.
Thanks for all your
Yeah,
efforts,
thank you,
Roger.
We know how many calls you get on the weekends and Sundays and Saturdays and 10 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning. We know that. So, yeah.
And there's always a cheerful voice.
Well,
We try to stay that way.
sometimes it's me calling, so it ain't so cheerful.
Well, who would be?
We sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks very
thanks a lot.
And with the secondary roads department, we also have Dave Rathje. He is one of our equipment operators out on the road that citizens probably see on a regular basis. He has been with Jackson County 20 years.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I got, you guys had a lot of compliments this winter and the roads.
Yes.
County roads really look good right now. The gravel looks good and they're crowned and they're looking good.
They know when they come into Jackson County because the roads are better.
They are different. Yep.
They are getting really nice. I mean, that curve has gone off of most of them and
Working away at it.
appreciate that.
Yep. We know you're working hard.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, we got.
Lynn, so I apologize if we caught you off guard.
No, that's all right. I kind of forgot it was off the last 3 days, so.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, we are taking the time to recognize ISAC as their annual years of service awards for elected officials and department heads. So we decided to expand upon that and recognize all employees of county service. So ISAC has issued a certificate on your behalf for your 15 years of service with Jackson County. So we want to take a moment to let you know how much we appreciate your service, and
Thanks.
Jack has a certificate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of my favorite people,
Oh.
the one I go to the most.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for your 15 years of service. We're blessed to have you with us
Well,
as
thank you
our,
for those
on
kind
our
words.
Jackson County team.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys.
And last but not least, but with the most years of service that's being recognized today, we have the chairperson of our board of supervisors, Jack Willie, who has been recognized this past March for 30 years of service with Jackson County.
Well, she threw this on my desk, so I got it. It's with great respect, Jack, that I present you this with 30 years of service. You've been
Thank you.
a mentor to me and taught me in my short time here what I need to do, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your years of service.
Thank you, Jack, for inspiration to me too. This is quite a interesting job. And there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about. It's good to have you there for that reference and stuff too.
Well, it's been a joy to serve with you guys, and the only one I can't say was a joy was the first year I was on. The first 2 years I was on was not a joy, but since then I've enjoyed everybody I've worked with, and I think that the main thing is all we try to do is what's right. And I think, one of the things that we've been successful at, as far as I'm concerned, is we are very conscientious about citizens' dollars. And we really work hard to make sure that we're budgeting for our needs and not our wants. And I don't know what else we can do. And we get a lot of surprises from the state legislators. We're always throwing something at us at the last minute. And so, and we always have to deal with that too. But, we're all in this to do what's right. And I think that Lisa's vision to have, Team Jackson County is, that's what it's all about. Is serving the public and doing it in the most efficient way at the most cost-effective way. So, thank you. I've enjoyed my 30 years and I'll enjoy the rest of this year and next year. And then I'll wave at you when I go down the hall. So.
Well, I want to congratulate
We
you.
appreciate
You
it.
know what, Jack? Congratulations.
Thank
It's
you,
a,
dear.
it's a joy and a treat to work with you. No doubt about
Thank
it.
you a lot.
So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be able to do all of this without our administrative assistant either.
That's
She keeps me on my toes and lets me know where I have to be and when. And works a lot with me on my iPad, which after next week, we might not need them for here. So, but
Yep.
thank you.
That's the evolution of when Jack started. Now he's got to read his emails and he's got to respond. So.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks, Lynn.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we will continue with this every March when ISAC issues their years of service. We'll follow the same requirements that they meet. And we'll see, next year, we'll see quite a few more employees coming through.
We really are blessed to have such a dedicated group of employees.
You know, we've got a lot of longevity here. No matter the amount of longevity, we appreciate all of the employees. And I think
Yep,
we've made some
yep.
strides to try to make that more known over the last few years. Like you said, with Team Jackson County, hopefully we'll kick COVID in the butt and we'll be back to,
Oh, amen.
our lunches and that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, we're ready. I think once, we're getting closer every day.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I think.
we are.
And we're gonna have a kickoff here probably soon is my thinking, but I think it's important that we gather together and we get to sit down. And I think that's really important, and we do. When you think about working through the pandemic and what these employees were tasked with and how they responded, it's absolutely amazing. So,
Yes, it
They
is.
were all at risk during
Yeah.
this whole situation, too, so it's like. They'll be commended for the camaraderie that can still go on is good.
did a lot of working together, that is for sure. So,
Appreciate your help with that too.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you, Becky.
you're welcome. All right, that's all I have for today.
cool beans.
They will post the work comp renewals on the IMWC portal during this month. I just did a quick check before I came down. Our renewal is not there yet. So hopefully I'll be back in maybe next week or two and we'll have an update on that. So, all right. All right,
Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wilson's back here and then we'll.
I'm going to go back to David Dreyer's agenda for just a minute. I did have a conversation with Alex Davis this morning, and he has been in communication with John. John has sent him all kinds of information, and he would like to have a work session with the board and John. And John's willing to do that, to go over what his responsibility is going to do for the site preparation. And I told him that we were going to be meeting with John today and possibly be discussing where on the property the building is going to be built. And so I says, when we get that all decided and discussed today, we will let him know so that he knows where the utilities and all of that have to be.
Would he have input of where it should be maybe even?
I don't know. I didn't ask him
I
that.
guess we should probably be able to decide that. I think. But I mean, you would think the logical place would be at the corner, so you got the end.
Well, I
access.
talked to John yesterday, again, and I told him that we wanted to have a conversation with him. And so we're gonna have a work session with him, and part of that conversation is where on the land we're going to build the building. And his question to me was, well, what do you want to discuss? And so I told him, I says, well, one of the issues is where we're gonna place the building and how we're gonna place it on the land. And he says, well, we can place it anywhere you want it. So that's one of the things we'll be discussing with him today. So we'll move on to our next item on our agenda is Lisa Smith, our county auditor. And Marty Hudlik is on the agenda at 9:30, but he will not be in today. He is ill.
So this morning, I just need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 4th, 2021 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorize publication in the official newspaper.
So moved. Second.
With a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Motion needed to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims list in the amount of $554,893.73.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I would note that we got our bill from the city of Macokota for our communications, and that was a little over 203,000. And we had rock in the amount of 156,000.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's keeping the roads dry and in good shape. So
And there was 20,000 in fuel, so you know they're running the trucks up and down the road, so.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
took that 400,000 out of there, we had a pretty good month.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we could just take it out.
Right.
Well, the communications for the 911 is very important to our, our
Oh,
citizens,
we realize that.
taxpayers
Yeah.
that, in emergency situation that they're available. So that's just. an
I
ongoing
still
expense.
can't understand why the Jackson County Regional Health Center, they get a lot of those calls are for the hospital. And I don't know why when they created this, that they weren't a part of the payment plan as well. But
I can't answer
I don't
that.
know how that
they,
was
and
wrote up, though.
it was before my time, so I don't know either, but it just seems like it should be shared by all entities that are using the system, so, but that's neither here nor there.
That's all I have for the board today.
Yeah, didn't vote on that yet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried on the claims. Okay, Luann, do you want to come forward? Luann Goki, our executive assistant.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Calendar for this week. It's a busy week.
Yeah, it is.
11:30 today, we have a work session on the new law enforcement center by Zoom. And that will be with John Hanson. At 12:30, if Jack has time, there's an early childhood site visit to Zion by Zoom. At 4 o'clock is a Macokota River Watershed Management Authority Executive Committee meeting by Zoom for Larry. And at 6 o'clock is a Save Your Town Restarting Local Shopping webinar for all of you. Wednesday, May 12th at 9 a.m. is an Iowa Workforce Innovation Network and Jackson County survey results by Zoom for all of you, if you like. At 10 o'clock tomorrow is a 0 to 5 and 60 minutes meeting by Zoom for Jack. At 1 o'clock is an early childhood Iowa site visit to Little Shepherd by Zoom for Jack. At 2 o'clock is a Mississippi Valley Workforce review of the draft MOU. That's also by Zoom for Jack. And at 6:30 Wednesday night is a municipal league meeting for Mike. And I believe that is here in Macokota
Yes,
at the Decker House.
I think the venue has been changed, but it's here. In
Thursday, May 13th at 7 a.m. I have Bellevue Hometown Pride meeting by Zoom for Mike. At 9 a.m. is another early childhood Iowa site visit, this time to Delwood for Jack. At 10 a.m. he has an Iowa DHS council meeting by Zoom. And at 4 o'clock on Thursday is the local emergency planning committee conference call for all of you. Friday, May 14th at 10 a.m. is 7th Judicial Department of Corrections meeting in Davenport for Larry. And I believe if you're on the evaluation committee, that actually is at 9:30 before the meeting.
That's right. Yeah.
At noon on Friday is a Workforce Iowa office hours meeting by Zoom for Jack. Monday, May 17th at 7:30 a.m. is an Early Childhood Iowa Executive Committee meeting by Zoom for Jack. At noon is a lunch and learn meeting on managing stress by Zoom for any of you. that
All of
wanna
us.
go. Yeah. Which of us can't
Everybody
sign
in
up
the
for that one?
courthouse and everybody in Macokina and Jackson County.
Pandemic kind of spread that around everywhere.
Yes, it did.
3 o'clock on Monday is a regional governing board meeting by Zoom for Jack. Our next regular meeting will be at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, May 18th. And that evening at 6 o'clock is Jackson County Economic Alliance meeting by Zoom for Jack. And the Conservation Board meeting for Larry. I believe that's at Prairie Creek this time.
The Women's
Are
Club
you
is meeting.
starting there or are you just?
The Women's Club is meeting at Prairie Creek this week on Friday. They're having a picnic. Their May meeting out there.
Is your whole meeting at Prairie Creek or just meeting there?
We're trying to go through the Richardson timber, but we haven't got a hold of him yet, for sure. Do that walk and then the meeting out there. Oh, I was out there yesterday. We went out and grabbed lunch at Dairy Queen and go out there and eat. Normally, there was probably 6, 7, 8 cars from Jackson County there. It looked like they were having something going on down there. So it really gets used a lot. Yeah. It's just a nice facility to
That's
have.
a good thing.
Right, that's all I have for you.
Thanks.
Is-
He
Todd
asked
and
me,
Brian were coming in, or are they zooming?
he asked me this morning if we had a preference. I said they could do what they chose to do. So he didn't say what they were going to do.
What time is that?
They're
Yeah, we're 20 minutes ahead.
they're scheduled at 10 o'clock.
Well, Nick is here.
Nick is on.
Mhm.
Nick, do you want to do your portion now? Since we have some time, is that okay? Is anybody else gonna join you?
Nope, just me today.
Okay.
It's a perfect time because you only got 15 minutes now.
No, actually you have 20 because the next. But he's holding you to 15, so.
All right, I'll take it.
At this time, we'll be joined by Nick Cuckenberry, Director of the Jackson County Economic Alliance. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, everyone, and I appreciate the time again. Please excuse my voice. I have a little bit of a head cold, so hopefully you can hear me all right. I wanted to also, I didn't realize that we were congratulating the staff on some milestones. So congratulations to all of them, and especially to you, Jack, on your own milestone with the county. And we appreciate all of your service to the county. I just wanted to, we reached out to Luann to kind of try and put this as a quarterly update. So to Mike's point, I don't have to come on for an hour and talk about everything. I can just give you kind of an update on some of our activities and some takeaways that we've had over the past quarter since I was here last in January. Yes, Mike.
You didn't have a printout, did you, Jack? Or Nick?
No, not today. So our bi-monthly report, which you all receive, that'll be coming after our board meeting next week that you'll all receive. But so I'll just give you kind of a brief update on a few things and also allow you guys to ask any questions, bring up any concerns or anything else you're seeing in the county that you'd like the Economic Alliance to be focusing on. The first thing I wanted to talk about so far this year, we've been really pushing to get in front of our businesses as a follow-up to our outreach during the pandemic, making sure that we're aware of what this next phase is for them. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of the pieces that we've been hearing from our existing business and industry. And some of the challenges that they're hearing now, I mean, obviously the last year took a toll maintaining their workforce. Many of them had to furlough employees for a period of time. But now what they're seeing is volatility in material prices. And, And this is a little bit concerning, partly because it makes it difficult to, so for instance, when they're making component parts, which many of our manufacturers do, they'll take either a component or a raw material, and they are selling it to an end user who actually makes the end product. It's very difficult to coordinate those quoting processes in good times, but when quotes used to last for, let's say two weeks or so, now they're having multiple quote updates in the same day. And sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but generally what we've been seeing is rising prices for these material pieces. And a lot of that is kind of the fallout over the past year on availability, especially as we've all seen with building materials. If the supply is not up and the demand remains high, the price goes up. And we've seen that on a number of projects. I was just speaking with a prospect who's looking at building a facility in Jackson County yesterday, and he was talking about the price of steel. And while he's working through this development plan, he doesn't know whether it makes sense to wait or to buy a building before he has land to put it on. So there are a lot of concerns, I think, as we work through this. Hopefully, we're seeing things start to level out as things are opening back up. Production facilities are back staffed fully and running at their normal levels. Hopefully, those materials and component parts are going to start leveling out. But I just wanted to highlight that because that's a new piece. Obviously, depending on your sector, there's been volatility in materials in the past, but not to this degree. It's a major concern. And now more recently, we're back to a lot of what we were hearing in past years with this crunch on workforce. So the most updated numbers that I have right here, we're looking at, somewhere back to pre-pandemic times in unemployment between 3 and 5%, which is good, I suppose, for those who are able to find their work. But we have a lot of industries who are not able to find workers. And this isn't unusual. This is a struggle that many of our employers have had for a number of years. But one metric aside from the unemployment rate that I think is important to highlight here is that what we've seen over the past year is a huge decrease in labor force. And labor force means those who are either receiving unemployment benefits or actively employed. So those aren't long-term unemployed persons. So that's over the past year to date, we're somewhere between 600 and 700 less workers in the county. And I did a little research over the past handful of years. We've seen predominantly increases, small increases, double-digit increases in labor force. The last major decrease we had was from 2018 to 2019, but it was only maybe the mid 300s of a decrease in labor force. So what we're seeing is double that. We don't necessarily know the full scope of that, what the reasoning are, but I can tell you anecdotally, what we've heard is that many two-worker households, once the schools shut down, one of those parents had to stay home, and they just have not found their way back into the workforce. And so I think it's important for our office as we focus on this, along with our partners at the staff that work for the Regional Workforce Investment Board. We put together kind of a workforce solutions team where when we hear there are workforce concerns with our businesses, when we do our general meetings, which has generally been Stephanie and I going out most recently, we do follow-up meetings with this workforce solutions team so that we can help align their resources to the employment needs of the businesses themselves. But I think one element that we're going to be focusing on a little bit more in this year is getting in front of those 600 to 700 workers who are no longer either looking for work or receiving unemployment benefits. We want to know what the barrier is. Is it childcare? Is it that, their job didn't come back and they need to look at a career change? There are training programs to assist that. We want to make sure they're aware of those opportunities and help meet the employer's needs with our residents' needs in workforce. And I think that'll be more important now than ever. I mean, it's great that our major employers are coming back to full capacity. And that was, a period of major concern that we had over the last year. And it's great to see things coming back. But we want to make sure they're successful for the long run. But it's not all bad news. I was just, and I know the supervisors were there as well. We had a visit from Senator Ernst. It was great to have her in Jackson County and in Maquoketa specifically up at Jackson Manufacturing. And it was also great to see all of the activity in the old industrial park. Over the past couple of years, we've seen, as I work up the street, Maquoketa Company has a major expansion that they finished. We have repurposed materials has moved into the old Hollander production facility. Blue 9 has expanded. We've had Imagine, the possibilities add their sewing line. We've had Dittmer move into a vacant building that has been a very difficult building to fill over the past few years. We had Mallard Manufacturing locate in the building over there, and and now we have the Moore and Chad Thompson endeavor over in the old Woodform building. And in just a week, we'll be doing a site visit with someone who's interested in the remaining Hollander facility. So these are great things. And what we're focused on in our office is making sure that we can keep this momentum going. So like I said, those are the main takeaways we've had from our business visits so far. And workforce is one of those things that we've known as a pinch point for our employers for some time, which is partly why we're partnering with the Center for Industrial Research and Services at the Iowa State University on a deeper dive into the workforce data of Jackson County. They have an Economic Development Administration grant to do this kind of work. I had reached out to them actually a couple years ago to get on their list, and they finished up in Delaware County, where they offered a lot of great recommendations to businesses themselves on strategies to fulfill their workforce needs, but also laid that very important landscape of data so that we're making decisions based on reality and not just what we're hearing, because I think that's important when we're aligning resources to tackle a solution. We need to know what the data says. So that'll be great. They've completed a survey with over 30 some major employers in the county, which was a great return. I know that they were hoping to get 20. And so we had a lot of our business and industries and institutions reply, which is great because we'll have good information to go off of. We have a presentation from them that they'll go over the survey information coming up, I believe, later this week. So that'll be great. We'll keep moving forward on that. One of the other things I wanted to highlight was a workforce initiative that we're working on with the new property owner of the old US Bank building in the downtown Maquoketa. So Robert Abbott was a Maquoketa High School graduate. He left after graduation to start his career in the tech field, was mainly based out of Columbus, Ohio, and was working in software design and development for many years. He had noticed what was happening in Jackson County and in his hometown in Maquoketa, and saw the great downtown revitalization work and wanted to do something to give back to his community. So he is working on purchasing the US Bank building. They'll be rehabbing it with some of the programs that we have available in downtown Maquoketa right now. But what's important, I think, is the use that he's bringing to this building. So he has a big background in the tech field, but as well in entrepreneurial supports. So he's worked in this field, helping people with a business idea, a startup, taking it to the next phase, getting them the information and the resources they need to do that, which is great. I mean, what we know in our office is that in Jackson County, we want to grow our own employers, which we've been very successful over the last, half a century in Jackson County. Many of the businesses that have started up here have been successful. And, I look at Plastics Unlimited and Preston. It's a great success story of coming off the farm and now, major Jackson County employer. We want to keep doing that in Jackson County, and it takes having this kind of service available. And so we're excited to partner with Robert to offer this in both Maquoketa, and he'll extend some services to the Bellevue area as well. And this summer, he's kicking it off with a paid internship program available to 12 Jackson County students, high school students, as sort of an introduction to software design. It's what he terms as user experience. So you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to know all of that technical and background information, but really what he's walking you through is the conceptualization of how to use technology to deliver a company's product or service. And these students will be working with real clients. Robert himself has a digital marketing and communications firm called Context Digital. That's what it'll run through. So it's a great opportunity for students not only to have a paid summer job, which I know, I was a high school student not too long ago. We all are looking for that in many cases, but also to learn about this new emerging industry. And the great opportunity here is that these are jobs that can be done often from anywhere. These clients are all over the US that they'll be serving. So we're hoping that we can grow these workers in Jackson County so they can stay here. So that's a great initiative that we're focused on. The last thing I'll talk about here is, as I'm coming up on my time, is a lot of the planning that we think is very important for the Jackson County, for the future development and sustainability of Jackson County. We've been able to partner with the University of Iowa's Iowa Initiative for Sustainable Communities to do some of that work, to bring the university's resources here to Jackson County, have fresh eyes from these students, undergrad and graduate students, and the faculty to do a whole host of projects in this county, partnering with community organizations, the cities themselves, and really bring some much needed, I think, future planning efforts in the county. As we're thinking about workforce solutions and how entrepreneurism and growing our own businesses is an emerging need in Jackson County, and we want to rely on our assets like Robert Abbott and the Entrepreneur Center that's opening up in Bellevue. We are going to work with the university, our offices, on a project that's focused on how to better build out that entrepreneur system and partner with the John Papa John College of Business at the University of Iowa to help us with that. So that's one of the projects, but a whole host of projects that are going to be moving forward over the next school year. And we're excited. We've got, so far, I think, just about finalized 16 different projects from throughout the county. And we're excited to move those forward. And I think that over the long term, they'll provide a lot of the information and data and vision for the future of Jackson County. So that's all I wanted to share today, but I'm definitely open to any questions or if anyone wanted me to expand on any of the items that I touched on today.
Any questions, Larry or Mike?
No, I think there's certainly exciting things that are happening in Jackson County, Nick, and we all see some of them. And I can tell you this, that the housing market is very active. And, I think everybody's really upbeat about the future, it's kind of exciting to see it. People are they're getting out again and they're happy and I think they're ready to spend some money. I really do. But,
Well, I know the house behind us went on the market, and the first day they showed it, it says sale pending on the house.
put one up for sale in Dubuque area, and we had 16 showings in one day, so there were 9 hours of showings in one day.
Well, and we've heard that from anecdotally from a couple of people we're aware of who are trying to purchase houses in the county. And we're seeing it across the county, whether it be in Bellevue or Macokota. If you have quality housing stock that is for sale, it is moving quickly, which is great. But it also means that we need to continue to take steps to make sure that we have the housing available for those who want it. And I think the city of Macokota, we've been working with them on a housing plan. They're working with ECIA too, with a committee that's focused on housing issues. But Bellevue took some really proactive steps and had partnerships, public-private partnership there to bring on a new subdivision with new lots online that are all spoken for now, which is great. And in Preston, they're working to move forward on a new subdivision themselves. So I think it's great that the demand is there, and we want to keep capitalizing on that for the future.
And Mike indicated when we talked earlier about the pocket neighborhood, that there's been some additional interest in that. And he said he thought they'd sold another house and possibly another one besides that. So that's good to get the pocket neighborhood full so they can do the landscaping and finish it. I know I was at Grinnell twice to see their pocket neighborhood. Times I was disappointed. The houses were lovely, but I was disappointed that none of the landscaping had been done yet. And they said, well, they really don't do that till it's pretty much sold,
Right.
because they just would dig it up. So I'm anxious for them to get sold so they can do the landscaping, because that's what's gonna really finish that neighborhood.
Oh, yes. And Kelly will tell you those white picket fences, that final touch is.
Absolutely. And it sounded like Senator Ernst visited the pocket neighborhood.
Yes. We've done our best, and so is ECIA, definitely, of trying to show this as an example of what rural communities can do to fulfill a very specific housing need, a workforce housing need. And we've had, great feedback from Debbie Durham at the Iowa Economic Development Authority, the governor herself, and our senators and congresswomen from the area. So they are aware of the project, and hopefully they can share that success story elsewhere in the U.S.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nick.
Yes, thank you guys for the time. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, next on our agenda is Todd Seibert and Brian Main from the Andrew Jackson Care Facility and from Imagine the Possibilities. Give us an update.
We figured you guys were sick of doing Zoom, so we come in first.
Morning, Joe. Yeah, we like to see faces. We like visitors
All right.
when they bring treats and things.
Brian's got the treats. If he doesn't, that's on him.
I see him digging into the treats.
That's Oh, shoot. Well, not to piggyback on what I just heard there, but the majority of my update is labor force issues.
Yeah.
Never been worse. It's never been worse by tenfold. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think we had 75 people statewide that left in the last month. We're down to about 946 staff. I think we should be well over 1,025.
Okay. Is that they went other places or just left the work market?
I'm gonna try to keep my personal opinion out of it, but I don't think people have to work. And we don't pay a great wage. We're gonna be given $1 million in wage increases in the next 6 months and really tapping into some of our reserves. We're giving $2,500 referral bonus. If you bring an employee, we'll give you $2,500. We are giving more incentives. We're giving everything that we can give to get people in the door, and we can't even get people in the door.
Well, I'll just tell you that my son-in-law last week, we were just talking about workforce, and he said that somebody that he knows really well that works for the human resource at John Deere, they had 27 come in that they offered jobs to. The day they were to report to work, only 4 came.
We've got somebody that's got a husband at John Deere too, and I said, when John Deere's having problems, we've got an issue.
But
I
you
mean,
think,
they can't find
you know,
anybody either.
with the salaries that they pay, and to think 27 were offered the positions and told when to report, and only 4 came. I just cannot hardly believe that,
I'm
with
not
the
sure what to
benefits
do.
and everything else. And it's like Joni Ernst said at the meeting last week, they're earning as much or staying home than they were with this stimulus money and extended unemployment and all of these other benefits that they're getting. They're not having to go out to work.
And kind of having said all that, what we're seeing though, is typically the people that have been with us a year or longer are staying. Those aren't the ones we're having issues with. It's the people that we've hired within the last year. That's where we have the issues. So, you know, getting them to stay for that year, it seems like once we get them to that year point, we're okay.
And I would just say a plug for our direct care across the state. If we did not have the dedicated, committed people we have, we would be shutting down operations in all kinds of places around the state. We have people that are working 80 hours a week, some of them more than that. And frankly, I don't know how they keep doing it, and we appreciate it a great deal. Our COO last night left at 4 o'clock at night to go to Creston, Iowa to work a shift this morning because that's how bad the staffing is. Brian's a regional executive director. Every regional executive director we have is working direct care on a regular basis. Our middle managers have pretty much become direct care because they're filling in. And of course, nobody wants to talk about quality is impacted.
Yeah,
Quality is impacted.
absolutely.
And by gosh, we provide a service and we take pride in providing quality service. And it's getting harder and harder for me to look people in the eyes and saying, we're doing it because it's tough every day. And I know nobody wants to admit that. And the other thing is, you guys know, we can't just take anybody off the street. You got to pass a criminal background check.
Sure.
There's some things you got to get through. And we're just not getting employees. And I do feel confident that we're doing everything in our power to attract people. I don't know what else we can do. Frankly, if anybody's got suggestions in the public or anyplace else, I mean, we do pop-up interviewing. We don't get a single person to come in. We try a different format. So that's the biggest issue. Having said that, I think things continue to plug along and we're getting by, but I do think the consequence of this is the smaller agencies are going to have to get with bigger agencies that at some point merge. I mean, we're going to have to figure out, we're looking at service lines that don't require as much labor. So we're looking at things like host homes where you have, completely different style of services, but we would not need 25 people to run that home. We would contract one person to basically be responsible for that. I don't know if any of that will come to fruition, but I think every agency out there is really looking at their strategic plan and figuring out where do we go from here? Because I don't think any of us see the labor situation getting better. And I know everybody has to come back and say, well, you guys don't pay a good wage. We're convinced internally that if we paid $15 an hour starting wage across the board, I am convinced that our staffing situation would be no better than it is today. I mean, $15 an hour is just less of a poverty wage than 12.
Right.
At some point, people need to make enough money that they don't have to be on food stamps if they're actually going out and being productive 40 hours a week. And it's simply not happening. And I'm preaching to the choir, so I apologize. But that's a frustrating
But
part.
it is going out to the public.
It
too.
is. And
Yes.
again, our direct care and our staff have been incredible. And I know they're sitting back and saying we need help. And I'd like to communicate, we're doing everything we can, but it is frustrating. It really is. And we've hired a fundraising person to kind of go out and maybe try to access money in different ways. We continue to serve on committees and things like that. I have a meeting this month with 7 other large agencies in the state that we share lobbyists with to talk about hiring an international recruiter to look at people from other countries that could potentially come in here and work. That's how bad it is. And I've got them all saying, can we meet sooner than that? Which is really not usually the case. People are looking at every opportunity. We talked to other agencies that have brought in some people from Puerto Rico and places like that. But again, that language barrier is an issue too. for
Oh,
people
sure it
we
is.
serve. And then if we have an issue and we have to go to court, that person can't speak the language and that comes up. So there's lots of obstacles, but I think that we have to really look at every opportunity to employ people. And I think that's what we're trying to do.
Do you do anything with daycare?
We've talked about that. We don't get, that isn't necessarily the reason we hear why people can't work, but again, that's something we would consider. If we had 100 staff come and say we have to housing. We've looked at housing. If we had to go buy an 8-plex someplace just to let staff live there in an affordable way, we would consider that. Now, not that we can afford it, and we'd have to really come down to working the numbers to look at it. But I think we're amenable to looking at every
Anything that's out there, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just us.
I think you're outside the box on some of this stuff anymore, and it shows it in all aspects. of
But the
it, you
box
know.
keeps getting smaller and smaller
Yeah,
and
I had
smaller.
a gentleman tell me he was in the construction business and he was somewhere and he says, the guy called them where they were working. He said, they just all left at 1 o'clock. He said, well, I don't know what to do about it. He said, well, they just left. He said, so if you pay them more, they work less hours because they made the same amount of money. So
We even talked about paying people by the day. I thought maybe that would be a way, so I kind of went out in front of everybody and they looked at me like I was crazy. They didn't think that was a great idea, but I thought maybe that's a way that you get your money today, and there wasn't much interest in that. And you guys know we have great 401k with 4% matching, great health insurance, great dental, great paid time off. But unfortunately, people can't take their paid time off because they're working so many hours, filling other shifts. And we don't feel good about that because people's mental health eventually gets impacted when you're working that
Sure,
much.
sure.
And these people have families and want to be home with their kids and their husbands and their wives. And
the whole stress factor.
it is. And again, I know everybody's in the same, and that's what I tell our folks, go around and find a business that doesn't have a help wanted sign. I mean, McDonald's give you $50 to come in and just interview whether they give you a job, and they can't get people in some communities. So I think it's a global problem.
Oh, I mean, it is a global problem.
Yeah. So if you guys got the answers, we'll take them and
Yeah.
we'll run. Other than that, the pet project line was mentioned, we're kind of getting that off the ground. We have a conference this week with our association of community providers. We're going to kind of launch the website with the association. We actually got a first order for an actual product from Gigantic Marketing up in Butte. So we're hoping that'll take hold and do something. And then we've got a couple other things in the pipeline that I think are exciting that I can't talk about yet. But
Okay.
next time we come, we might do that. And it's just another product that we're looking at that'll make us more efficient and I think separate us from other providers is what we're kind of hoping to do.
You always have been.
Oh, we try.
So I can kind of jump on the pet projects just a little bit more. We have six individuals with different disabilities that will be working part-time through there. So that's really nice. And then everything goes going through our online store, and that actually worked very, very smooth. We weren't sure how it was going to go on the first go, but it actually went very smooth. So yeah, we're just now starting to kind of build up some of the products. So we've got the inventory. Good to go.
Good.
Wonderful.
I want to tell you, my dog is still laying on that mat.
And my cat,
Maybe not. We need you to buy another one.
and my cat is still laying on her bed.
Yeah. Think about that.
So
Like your car company.
Jumps to last that long.
So I think really the only other thing that I had, as far as related to AJC goes, we had an interaction with the deputy, I believe it was Scott Heyer, Deputy Scott Heyer. Completely out of the ordinary, and it was fantastic. We didn't need him, nothing. He was in the area and stopped by, and he's starting to work on building that relationship with the individuals. Just stopped by, said hi, talked to him for about 10 or 15 minutes and was out the door and gone. So definitely want to commend him on that. Our staff spoke very highly of him.
Staff and the consumers, it gives them a chance to meet somebody too. So when they
Yeah.
do come out, there's a relationship started. It's harder to be mean to somebody that you've met when you were nice,
So, that's one of the things I think Brent's trying to do is that outreach, and it's extremely important to see both sides.
Yes.
Yep, and then I think Russ Long was out there. We had an issue with somebody's goat that got over into AJC. And he took the time to figure out whose it was. So, he was out there just, it was great to have him out there. So just talking with the individuals and the staff. So very nice.
Otherwise, we keep plugging away, doing the best we can, but the labor is definitely the issue. And if that wasn't the issue, things would really be pretty good. And things are moving along. So COVID's kind of relaxing a little bit. I mean, there for a while, we had 25 cases a day, and that's pretty much come to pretty much one a week. So, so that's been a big relief as well.
Good.
So, yeah.
Any issues out there that, I bet if we have a good working relationship with Matt, I think we really do, and we've been doing some things. We're working on the concrete bid yet, but we did some seeding and pulled the trees and got some working on the septic field now, so.
Yep. That's been good. I haven't heard anything positive.
I think we have good communication there, and he had
And that's what we want.
texted me about and contacted me about a sign, and I said, well, you bring it in front of the board and we'll discuss it from there.
I don't see any reason, I don't see any problem at all with putting a sign up.
Everyone should be proud of what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
I talked with them this morning on the way up, and there anything to really bring up, so.
Okay, well, we need to know if you're,
Yep.
and Matt's good about it. I mean, he's good about telling us that.
Yep.
there's issues. We try to comply. I know that we're still playing with the generator a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
We appreciate just the general support from you
Yeah.
guys. You guys always have been supportive since I've been here. It makes our job a little bit easier, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It's nice not to come here and get yelled at and said we're doing everything wrong.
Well, I think it's a good working relationship. I really believe
Well,
it
the people
is.
you're working with need the support and need the help, and you know, and I think that's a great thing. And
I think that's a good point too. That means a lot for people watching. We have supervisors, again, not that we have the people that were against us, but they're all in support of what we're doing and believe in the mission and believe in providing quality services. And I think that goes away. More locally, it means a lot, not so much in Preston and places like that.
Sure.
But I think they like to hear the local folks, and us talk and know we get along and they're supportive of each other.
And we know that the people need the service,
That's right. Exactly.
and that's what it's all about.
That's not going away. That's
Making their lives as
Yeah, I
good
think-
as we can make
You
it.
know, Todd was talking about the workforce decreasing, but the number of individuals serving is slowly creeping up. So you're starting to get more of an imbalance right now. We're serving more people, but we have, you know, fewer staff. And at some point, we're gonna have to start saying, okay, we can't serve any more people until we can bring up the workforce. So, and I think we're probably getting pretty close to that.
You have agencies right now, every day are calling Department of Inspections and Appeals to say tonight, we cannot meet our shift ratios. And so we're gonna be running with one less than what our resume here says. And yeah, I really didn't have any, what are you gonna do? That's where it's at. Now, we haven't really, for the most part, we've gotten by having managed supervisors work those shifts. But I mean, we're going to get to a point in some of these areas where we're gonna have to say, we don't have the labor. Now, that doesn't make me feel good.
No,
No, it's not safe.
No.
yeah,
it's
you want
not.
everybody to be safe is for sure.
All
Just
right.
as a side note, I'd like you to know that I've been working with the Department of Human Services concerning the files that are in the
Yes.
outbuilding. They have a request for proposals for doing confidential shredding, and I haven't heard back, but they're moving forward with that. So
That's what it was.
I think, yeah, I think we're gonna get some resolution to the process.
Good deal. Good deal. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's utilized space that we could.
Yeah, I've just,
execute it on my notes to ask you.
no, I've been in contact with them. I took them, we met out there, we looked at the situation over. Then they called me back and said, yes, it's their files, yes, they can destroy them. And they want to bring on-site people on to do the shredding there.
Good deal.
Perfect.
That'd be the safest.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
gentlemen.
Okay,
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
come again.
Take care. Leanne, I'll wait for you to holler at.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can do that.
See you guys.
Yeah, see you guys. Thanks. Have a good day.
Okay, Brent's due at not till 11. Any boards or commissions that anybody wants to discuss?
Some notes from our meeting. I'm just trying to.
We had a 911 board meeting last week, and we're moving forward with migrating into the digital system as we can.
Mhm.
So we're waiting back for a couple bids yet on some things. I know we had moved that building up from down that concrete building. Now we're wondering how much we want to stick into that. If we're going to be switching over to the digital system, we actually don't need all that equipment in there. So it's a whole different mind thought process. So look at the long range picture, see where we're going. But that's slowly moving forward also. And we have good turnout for that. We have good turnout. for that. I'm glad that they're involved. We have a lot of input from them. And the DCAT board we had last Friday, and that's all looking good. The numbers are in and projects are going on and supporting these younger generation to keep them in the public and with their families, and it's a good program.
Early Child High, right now, we're doing site visits, Zoom site visits to all of the daycares and preschools. And Gwen's mother had a stroke, so she was air ambulance to Iowa City. So she isn't able to be on it. So there's a couple of myself and another board member that are doing the sites visits. So it's a little different when you don't have the director there, but they've been going very well. And hopefully her mother will have a speedy recovery, but I know she's spending most of her time in Iowa City right now.
Oh, it's Miranda do it.
Huh?
Oh, Miranda do it.
She's doing fine.
Good.
Yep, we believe it, this is, we've been talking about hiring for the assistant that they're going to hire for Miranda. They had 90 applications for that position,
Oh,
Really?
90.
Well, that's not like anybody else.
And I guess they, according to my emails, they have it narrowed down to 14. And the executive committee is going to do some of the interviewing. So Nick will be part of that interviewing team because he's on the executive committee. So
Do they understand how much work that position is?
the other thing is, when I was going over, I pulled up my month calendar on my iPad. And I noticed the 21st, the day we're having our tour with conservation. That is also the day that the Iowa Workforce is making a presentation to the State Workforce Development Board. And our tour is at 9. And I'm supposed to present at, well, the meeting starts at 11. My last email from Miranda said she didn't know when we would be on the agenda. And she would let us know. But Luann also said, if I take my iPad, I only have to do the opening bit of it. And then Dennis Duke, who's the chairman of the full board, and Miranda, they'll do the part 2 and part 3. So I
Well, we
may,
can certainly change our schedule for the conservation. We can drive around and look any day, I mean, that's
well, when I find out from Miranda, because we have, I think there's 2 ECI meetings, or
well, don't skip that for that drive around. I mean, we
So,
can go look at the.
but
parks. We've been there forever.
I will keep you informed as to what's going on with that. So, and our mental health meeting on Monday was canceled. And I guess, I don't know what the state legislator is going to do. Sounds like it maybe will become the state funded, and county property tax will not help fund it anymore. But there's still so many questions about what our participation in that will be. But honestly, when I think about the Department of Human Services taking it over completely, all I think about is the workload and the responsibilities that they have now. And then to take over these regions and all of the mental health services, I just don't know how that's going to work. I wish it would go back to counties. Just having the
That's where we
counties
started,
delivered.
right? We started with state. I remember, I shouldn't say this, but this is the John Dorsey days, right? Where it was all state, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So they migrated from the state to the county.
counties. And then they went from the counties to the regions. Now it's,
Going
if
back
it
to
goes
the
back,
state.
it'll be regions to state.
Oh, regions to state, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what role the regions will have. And so we have a board meeting next week, so hopefully we'll be able to, but I forget. Do you remember, Luann, how many pages that bill was? Like 131, 100. Oh, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, how do you make any sense out of that?
Yeah. And I mean, you have to be a Philadelphia lawyer to understand what they're really saying. So I don't know if we'll be discussing that at our Human Service Council meeting this week or not, but time will tell. But there's just so many things going on. And I was really impressed with Joni Ernst's session last week. I thought she was on target with a lot of stuff. And I'm not so happy with the state legislators this week. I think that it's absolutely ludicrous that they're having a bill that allows them to carry a gun in the courthouse. The only place they can't carry it is in the courtroom or in the clerk of court's office. And that really frustrates me to think that, I don't know, I just don't think it's, and I noticed in the Telegraph Herald this morning, they're all up in arms about how they're gonna put in bulletproof glass in the courthouse and all of the additional expenses it's gonna be. And I just can't understand how they think that that's a step in the right direction. But we can't tell them what to do, so. Anything else before we recess? Where our next agenda item will be Brent Kilberg at 11. The possible discussion on personnel matters, and then following that, we'll be having work sessions. So at this time, we'll recess until we're joined by Brent Kilberg. Okay, at this time, we'll reconvene the meeting, and we're being joined by Jackson County Sheriff Brent Kilberg. Good morning.
Morning, Brent. Morning, everyone. So I would like to ask the board, or I guess announce that I'm promoting two of my deputies from the deputy position to sergeant positions within the sheriff's office. So we'll present the certificates to you, Jack.
There you be.
Thank you, sir. And it'll be all right. I'd like to read my spiel that I give when I hired my new deputies this year as well.
That'll be fine.
And then a little more information after that as well about the two sergeants. So I know you guys haven't heard this before, so it's important for me to read it. The first of two important characteristics that distinguish the office of sheriff from other law enforcement units is its historical roots. In England, the sheriff came into existence around the 9th century. This makes the sheriff the oldest continuing non-military law enforcement entity in history. The elected sheriff is part of America's democratic fabric. It's more than a tradition, it's a constitutional requirement. The second characteristic that sets the sheriff's office apart from other law enforcement agencies is its direct accountability to citizens through the election of the sheriff. The office of sheriff is not a department of county government. It is the independent office through which the sheriff exercises the powers of the public trust. No individual or small group hires or fires the sheriff or has the authority to interfere with the operations of the office. Elected sheriffs are accountable directly to the Constitution of their state, the United States Constitution, statutes, and the citizens of their county. The sheriff should naturally do his best to work with all entities because it is important in a democratic society. The sheriff must work with all segments of government to serve and protect the citizens of the county. The preservation of the office of sheriff is vital in our republic. Outside a few elected town marshals, the sheriff is the only head of a law enforcement agency in this nation that is accountable directly to the people of his or her jurisdiction. Each of us as sheriff can do our part to ensure our contribution to the preservation of this great office by following these principles. Remember those sheriffs who have served in our counties and across the nation before us, and build on their successes by learning from their mistakes. Always serve with integrity. Do not shirk the sheriff's responsibilities, duties, or management rights to other governmental entities, unions, or political influence. The sheriff alone stands directly accountable to the citizens for quality of service from the sheriff's office. Know and fulfill the sheriff's moral and statutory responsibilities. Not a mere formality, an oath of office is a public pledge that the official understands the requirements of the position and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. Those taking the oath must fully consider the meaning of the oath and all its important implications. This is why the oath to the sheriff's office is so important to me. By deputizing someone or promoting them to sergeant, I'm entrusting they will not abuse their power and follow my intentions. We are entrusted by the public to do what is right, moral, ethical, and legal. We must set and lead by example in our community, both on and off duty, to ensure we never lose the public's faith and trust in us. To be disloyal to this oath is perjury and means you not only have been disloyal to the sheriff's office, but but more importantly, to your people. Never dishonor yourself or the principles of this office. Okay. Today, I'm proud to announce 2 deputies being promoted to the distinguished rank of sergeant. A sergeant position is one of great importance in any organization. In the Army, the non-commissioned officer creed for sergeants starts by saying, "No one is more professional than I." And if you've ever known Army sergeants, you know how proud they are of that time-honored corps. It points out that they are the backbone of the organization, and they must go to great lengths to accomplish the mission. In short, sergeants get it done. It is a critical position because they are expected to conduct themselves at the highest level of competence and professionalism and always accomplish the organization's mission while simultaneously watching out for the welfare of the people. I would like to point out that both these promotions to sergeant are not only a reward for the past dedication, expertise, and leadership of Brandon Beck and Chad Gruber, but it's based on how much more they will be expected to accomplish in the future as they further develop into leaders within this organization. With rank comes greater responsibilities, expectations, and a higher degree of accountability. I'm especially proud of them for accepting these first promotions to sergeant because they agreed to take on these greater responsibilities and expectations for no more pay than their current wages. The pay structure doesn't allow me to compensate them any more than the other deputies. They've accepted a much higher degree of responsibility when I can't pay them anymore, and that's dedication and that's leadership. So first, I would like to call Brandon back up to the position up our flags. And this is your oath, Brandon, so raise your right hand and swear after me. I, Brandon Beck,
I, Brandon Beck,
having been appointed a deputy sheriff,
having been appointed a deputy sheriff,
sergeant of Jackson County,
sergeant of Jackson County,
under Brent Kilberg,
under Brent Kilberg,
sheriff of said county,
sheriff of said county,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of sergeant
discharge all the duties of sergeant
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Very good. Joe, would you like to go up and pin the rank on Brandon? I recommended they punch it in there and make him bleed.
Can I do it?
Sure. Try to make sure they pointed the chevrons up and not down. Okay, if you two want to get in there, I'll get a picture for you. And if you guys got a phone, I could grab your phone too. Okay. You guys got a phone? You want me to snap a picture quick?
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Congratulations. And then actually stay up there a second, Brandon, I'll have you. So would you snap a photo or what's up there?
Just kidding.
Come on. Gotcha. Okay, so.
I'll do 1, 2, maybe even sideways, and 3. How's that?
Congratulations, Brandon.
Congratulations.
Oh, wait, shoot, go back up there. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Okay, I forgot to introduce him. Brandon Beck is being promoted to sergeant to oversee the investigations division. He began his law enforcement career as a reserve officer with the Sevilla Police Department. In 2001, he was hired as a patrol officer with Sevilla and was also hired as a part-time officer with the Preston Police Department. In 2003, he joined the sheriff's office in the jail division and later as a deputy in 2004. He attended the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy and graduated in the 205th basic class as vice president. He is currently serving as our investigator and is also assigned as an evidence technician. In his tenure at the sheriff's office, he has obtained numerous certifications, including the designation of being a certified mobile forensics analyst, and data recovery specialist. Recently, he graduated from the Supervision and Management of Investigative Units program. So congratulations, Brandon. Thank you. Okay. Next, I would like to introduce Chad Gruber. Chad, if you come on up. Chad is being promoted to sergeant to oversee the patrol division. He started his career in 1991 with the Seville Police Department, graduating from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in 1992, the 130th basic. Preston Police Departments, and was the chief of police in Preston and Seville. He also worked for the Clinton County Sheriff's Office for 3 years, assigned to the jail division. In 2008, he was hired with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. He graduated from Kaplan University in 2006 with an Associate of Applied Science degree in criminal justice. He served as Jackson County's canine handler from 2008 to 2010 and 2012 to 2018. He's also served as the mayor of Preston from 2013 to 2016. In 2017, he completed his Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice with an emphasis in forensic psychology from Purdue University. He currently is a certified firearms instructor and recently completed supervision of police personnel through Northwestern University in March of this year. So, Erica, would you come up and pin Chad? Oh, wait, sorry, Erica. I'm getting myself out of order here. I'm sorry. So Chad, would you raise your right hand? I'll swear you in first. I, Chad Gruber,
I, Chad Gruber,
having been appointed a sergeant of Jackson County Sheriff's Office
having been appointed the sergeant of Jackson County Sheriff's Office
under Brent Kilburg, Sheriff of Jackson County,
under Brent Kilburg, Sheriff of Jackson County,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of sergeant
discharge all the duties of sergeant
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Very good. All right, Erica, go up and pin him. Good. Okay, let me jump up there.
Congratulations, Chad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sure.
One more centered.
Okay.
Oh, could you smile some more? Okay.
You must be talking to Chad.
All right, actually, Brandon. Middle here.
Yep. Smile more.
Right, we don't want any in paradise. Okay, I think I'm good. If you're good, Erica, I'm good.
All right. I just need you guys to sign your certificates. Let's see, can I get a head and shoulder shot real quick, put them up there in front of the flags? before we
Sure.
go? I gotta send that to the newspaper. So, let's jump up there real quick. Yeah, step right in between them, Brandon, and then I'll just get a. Not sure what on here exactly. Yeah. Okay, Chad, why don't you hop in there and grab you quick too? Ready? All right, very good. Okay.
Killing me. You're lucky that you picked that up.
I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool. My dad was sergeant, Dave County Sheriff's Department. That's what Chad was telling me. He said he gave him his
Oh, how wonderful.
sergeant stripes, so they picked him up in parts, so they're cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
They got a minute to step out. with these guys.
Sure. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Do
You
wanna
guys,
recess?
you guys want a picture of the flag, in front of the flags like that?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Do you
guys
want to
want to
recess?
We'll recess.
Okay.
Is there any other business to come before our meeting today?
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. We will be having a work session with John Hanson and the Sheriff Brent Kilberg to discuss some issues on the proposed jail, and that will have follow this meeting. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. We are adjourned.